right, hello Sooner Nation. So kind of not a whole lot to talk about. I mean, other than just like signing day today and everybody literally telling us that we don't belong in the playoffs because all of a sudden now we're not good because we don't win pretty. And now I know how these teams that played real good defense for years fail because
the key reason, the key takeaway is, Jeremy, the most important thing you can do to not deserve to be in the playoffs is be Oklahoma. Because when we had a high-powered offense and no defense, we didn't deserve to be in there. Now that we have a high-powered defense and a mediocre offense, then we don't deserve to be in there. So the common denominator is it's Oklahoma. It's not me. It's you.
But don't you remember when we had a really good offense, they were like, well, obviously with that offense, you got to let them in. It's like now it's like we play a different kind of football, but football that actually has a better chance of winning a national championship. Now you don't deserve to be in it. So I love how the narrative always flips when it comes to Oklahoma. But just like any fan base thinks that their school's picked on and we're getting in.
Because ours is true.
Yeah, I mean, obviously. I mean, we're getting in. We're number 8 now. The question would be after these conference championship games, are we going to get to play at home or are we going on the road? So there are a lot of questions to be answered. We better be big Texas Tech fans and big Georgia fans if we want a home game. But, I mean, honestly, if you look at it, we almost have an easier road to a national championship if we're going the road.
Right, because then you avoid Ohio State.
Yes.
I mean,
which I feel is legitimate.
I mean, that's assuming that Ohio State beats Indiana. And here's the deal. If Indiana beats Ohio State, then obviously Indiana's really good. Because,
you don't want Indiana either. So.
Yeah, then you don't want Indiana. I don't think that's what's going to happen.
No, I don't
no, we want to do what we can to avoid Ohio State. Obviously, it would be great. I mean, there's a world where it's better if we drop to the 10 and we're ended up playing a 7, but you just don't want to be that close to the edge. We don't want to be, we don't want to play with fire and somehow get burnt and get left out. But, I just think, Jeremy, a lot of people are like, man, we're going to play Alabama now. We're getting screwed. They put Alabama there as a buffer to keep Alabama in, whether they win or lose. And they put Alabama there because no matter what happens, Alabama's going to move one way or the other. If they win, they're going to jump us. If they lose, they slide back to 10. And, to me, the best case scenario would be in that situation. Maybe it comes down to a conversation between BYU, Notre Dame, and Miami. And I'd rather play Miami or BYU as play Notre Dame. Here's the deal. Do I think Notre Dame deserves to be in? No, I don't. But at the same time, this is a team that went to the national championship game last year. I think Marcus Freeman's a really good coach. Now, I think the running, their strength of their team's their running game, and I think we can stop that. But if you just gave me the option, who would I rather play? Now, I'd rather play Notre Dame as Alabama, but I'd rather play Miami or BYU as Notre Dame.
Yeah, I'm tired of playing SEC teams. So
yeah, exactly.
But I'm glad you brought up Notre Dame because one thing that I said today, I was telling a buddy of mine, I said, if you want to get Notre Dame into a conference, keep them out of this playoffs. Like
100%.
as long as you keep letting them slide by, not being in the conference, and basically the only reason they're getting in is because, well, they're not in the conference. Why would you get in the conference? There's no reason to.
No sense. No.
And so, if you want to really look at it, do I believe that Notre Dame deserves to be in the playoffs? Yeah, they probably do. But over Miami, no, probably not, because you have the head-to-head. The records match up. Now, that said, Miami is not playing in the ACC title game on probably one of the worst conference championship games you will ever see in your life.
Well, Jeremy, that's just not true, because Chris Felicia told me, or Felica, or the Bear, or the Panda Bear, or whatever his gambling arse says, that their resume is so much better than ours. I mean, they lost to Louisville and SMU. Those are powerhouse programs, Jeremy. I mean, no one just rolls into Gerald Ford Stadium in SMU. I mean, because go ahead, Jeremy. I got a little bit of research here.
Nothing's intimidating about the name Gerald Ford. Don't get me wrong. He was a great president, but there's nothing intimidating about his name. But the whole like mid-major, getting them in, having North Texas make it. If you want a true national champion, I understand giving these teams an opportunity, but they're not one of the 12 best teams. I'm sorry. I don't give a crap what the Bears dumb butt says. And guys, you got to realize this too as well. Right now, these people are trying to get clicks. There is a fan base that you
don't roll into Gerald Ford Stadium. Okay. And it has 32,000 rich people sitting there. Okay. In front of 32,000 at Gerald Ford Stadium, 90th biggest stadium in the country. You think you roll in there on homecoming and win?
Not unprepared.
My God, Miami didn't. And let's see who else does too. Go ahead.
It's just, right now, they're like, I mean, look at Joe Klatt. Joe Klatt, who absolutely loved Lincoln Riley. Now, all of a sudden, we're horrible because we don't score points. Isn't that nuts?
And he works for Fox, and Fox has the broadcast rights to Lincoln Riley and the Big Ten, but not the SEC.
So there's narratives in everything these guys are saying. So, and what are they doing for
because
clicks?
Who cost Fox a lot of money? OU in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Because when they left the Big 12, that's one less media right. That just increased the media rights they had to pay for their big noon kickoffs and all of those things. So once again, guys, the answer to all your questions is money.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to look at it too, say what you want. Texas and Vanderbilt deserve to be in the playoffs. I mean, Texas. I don't like Texas, but there ain't no way you can say that they don't have a resume that warrants them being. I understand.
I mean, here's the deal. I think Oregon's a good team. Okay. But here's Oregon's schedule, Jeremy. Montana State, Oklahoma State, Northwestern, Oregon State, at Penn State, post, got him fired. Indiana, game they lost at home. At Rutgers, do anything for you? Wisconsin at home. They had they win the Iowa game, right down to the wire. They won at Iowa. Minnesota at home, USC at home, at Washington.
Mm-hmm.
You tell me, I mean,
USC is the only win.
Does Vanderbilt, is Vanderbilt's 10-2 that much different? No, it's not. Okay. And I'm not saying Oregon should be out. That's not what we're saying here. I mean, you can look at A&M's schedule and it's kind of weak too, but they did step out of conference and play Notre Dame and that sort of thing. And I realize you can schedule pick and all those things. And we could do a pod that lasts 20 hours dissecting this. But we have something called real jobs that actually pay us real money, unlike just the love and adoration we get from our Soonercast faithful here. So we're not going to relitigate that. But I do want to relitigate the fact that I do, and I appreciate that this was going around Twitter. But we've been told the reason by all these people, Joe Klatt, the Bear, some other Instagram influencer type people who go on here and talk and all this stuff, and they're just trying to get their clicks. I get it. Jeremy and I are sort of in this business the same way. But when you look at the comparison of our offense and Alabama's offense in our common opponent games, and if anyone hasn't seen this, I'm just going to read this off to you. Against Auburn, okay, both teams beat Auburn. Alabama won 27-20. We won 24-17. Now, Jeremy, what's the point difference in that? Same, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Alabama total yards against Auburn, 280. Oklahoma total yards, 303. That's not what the national narrative said. But here's this will be it, because we got told how awful we were against LSU. Their offense scored 20 points. Our offense scored 17 points. 3-point difference. Alabama had 344 yards against LSU. Oklahoma had 393, so 50 more yards. Against South Carolina, Alabama scored 29. We scored 26. Alabama had 325. We had 319. So Alabama plus 6. Against Tennessee, Because this is one of the ones that, look, it didn't matter, right? Okay, this is one of the ones that we shouldn't have won because we got outgained in that game. We scored 33. Bama scored 37. Bama had 373 yards. We had 351 yards. The biggest discrepancy at any of the games was Missouri. Bama scored 27. We only scored 17. They had 330. We had 276, 60 yards. Okay. But we also beat Missouri. I mean, we only allowed Missouri to score 6 points. Missouri scored 24 points against them. All that says is this. When comparing apples to apples, we have a mediocre offense. It's mediocre.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the best. It's not the worst. It's a mediocre offense. It's had a quarterback play with a hurt thumb, a broken thumb for the majority of it. Without its best playmakers, with 3 freshmen on the offensive line. That's a team that tells me in 3 weeks of healing and meshing can be even better.
Yeah.
But I know that's not the narrative that's getting pushed.
I think the stupidest thing I heard was Joe Klatt said, they don't get all those turnovers and they don't win these games. I'm like, that is football. That is literally what we said when we weren't getting turnovers. We were like, if we can ever start turning people over, I mean, we're going to get some big wins. And what happened? We started turning people over. And so I just get so annoyed by some of the narratives that they're trying to say about like, well, they don't turn these teams over. Isn't that what you're trying to do on the defensive side of the ball? Like quit being so good and turning people over because this is not supposed to happen. Like, screw off. And we are built more now to win a national championship. I'm not saying we're going to win a national championship this year, but we are built to win a national championship more than we ever were with Lincoln Riley. So we can put up 50 points. If you can't stop anybody, it really don't freaking matter. Your defense is always going to keep you in football games. And that's the whole deal with us. You know what's going to happen? We're going to play the first round of the playoffs, and we are going to struggle on offense. We're going to get texts from our friends being like, this is the worst offense I've ever seen. John Mateer's horrible. And you know what's going to happen? It's going to come down to a 3-point game, and we've got the ball. I'm calling it right now. It's like I can just make this prediction that it's going to happen because it's what happened all year. How many times we came on here and said they're going to score 30-plus points? Because we keep thinking, like, this next game is going to happen. I'm done. I'm just going to be like, you know what? My prediction, whoever we play, it'll probably be like 13-6.
Yeah. You know what, Jeremy? As long as our score's listed first, I don't care.
Yes. Who cares how it looks? Like Brent Venables said.
Winning.
That's what Brent Venables said. I don't care how it looks as long as we win. I mean, that's literally all. You know what's different than last year?
Attacking, punishing defense. We've got that. And we've got an offense, and I know I'm, the guy, the sunshine pumper, the whatever you want to call it. I get it. But at the same time, guys, there's things that tell us, to quote Lincoln Riley, that we are close offensively. I mean, we gained the most yards we had since Temple, our last game. And, LSU's not as good as, say, Alabama or, someone like that. But LSU's not a bad defense. And to go put that many yards on them, that tells you, yes, we are close. And, we have to find a way for Mateer to be aggressive without turning the ball over. One of my favorite expressions back when I was coaching was we got to be quick, but we don't want to hurry. And that's kind of where Mateer's got to be too. He's got to be decisive. I do think Arbuckle did a better job this last week of simplifying the game plan. I think it probably can be simplified even a little bit more. But if we can get some healthy playmakers, guys, the decisions get a lot simpler. When we're not asking John to do absolutely everything, we're just asking him to be the leader, to be the decision maker, to be that guy. If it's just boom, hit this hole and run, he can do it. If it's hit this guy and throw, he can do it. We get him out running on the edge. I like it, man. It's all good stuff. but we need a healthy Xavier Robinson. Okay. We need a healthy Torrey Blaylock. We need those guys. We need Giovanni Gibson to be the guy that he was last spring. Now, he's probably not going to be all the way back, but we can all agree that Giovanni Gibson we saw against LSU was better than the Giovanni Gibson we had seen against Tennessee and Alabama, Missouri. It's better. Okay. All those things have a chance to come together. We still got more than Deion Burks. Satanga is what, second or third in the SEC in receiving yards.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Don't give me this bull crap that it's last year's offense. You know who our freaking leading receiver was? And I don't think I'm ever going to say his person's name on this podcast again last week. Bauer freaking Sharp. Okay. We came a long ways from that. But for us to have games to talk about beyond one more, it's got to be improvement. It's got to be improvement.
All right. So we're talking about some healthy playmakers. We had a recruiting day today, so we got us some healthy
some healthy youngsters.
Some guys that signed with us today that might help us next year. I mean, Hatton goes through with it. That was a roller coaster ride with him. Bo Bentley, quarterback to me of the future. I'm even if he comes in next year, I'll be really curious if how high they are on him. If he comes out, I'm not saying he's going to be like Caleb Williams, but what I'm saying is like if the Caleb Williams effect where because I think Michael Hawkins is going to transfer. You know?
Yeah, okay, that's where I was going to go with that. Jeremy. I mean, I do think that we've probably seen, and I think Hawkins will stay for the playoff run like I do, but I would be surprised if he's not out there. To me, Bentley is the heir apparent at quarterback. Now, obviously, let's see how Batir plays in the playoff game. If he goes out there and absolutely poops the bed, then I'm all for. Now, are we going to go out there and go get a guy as expensive as John was last year out of the portal? No. But would I be okay with trying to go pay some money to get someone in there who has at least a semi-open competition in the spring to see? Yeah, 100% I'm good with that. But I don't think that's what's going to happen. But I think we go into next year with Bentley. Maybe it's not the true backup in the same way that like Neubauer got in when we were preserving, Hawkins' red shirt. But I'd like to see Bo Bentley get some snaps in our FCS game next year. I'd like to see him get out there, get his feet wet. And that way maybe he's ready to step in after Material's gone.
As long as you don't take any money away from what we're going to offer Cam Coleman to come
exactly.
I think in our friend group, I said, whatever we need to pay that man.
Sound, bink, bink, bink. That's the Brinks truck backing up in Auburn, Alabama.
You take half of Mateer's money away and Ott's money away.
Yeah, all of Ott's money. Hopefully we got some of that John Calipari NIL insurance and we can cash all of that in.
I don't know if you're not aware of this. Cam Coleman, the receiver at Auburn, who literally, torched us and torched a lot of football teams. We said in the last pod, it's just two tough memories back in Auburn. You should get in a transfer portal. I guess he listened to us, and he is now in the portal.
Did.
And
so
I
come
think
on, Cam.
Really good, really, really good in Crimson and Cream. And I think there's a certain man named Jim Nagy that also will observe that. So. Yeah. I think Nagy sees that we need that playmaker. We need it. Like I said this, I don't remember what pod it was. We need a guy a possession receiver that's a good route runner. Satanga is a good route runner. He's still, he's not the best route runner, but he still gets open. We don't get guys that just.
Well, okay. I like Isaiah Tasanga. He's been a great player. Hopefully he comes back next year. He's got a chance to. Hopefully he's back. Pay the man, give him a raise. I'm 100% for that. But Isaiah Stank is a guy that you make a game plan. He's in the game plan, but you don't have the game plan for. Okay. In other words, he's not a guy who is going to require a safety over the top to help, which allows a greater running game. He's a guy who's at his best, just burning down the field, running crossers, that sort of thing. He's a really, really good player, but you got to have those freaks. And, Cam Coleman would give us one of those guys that just is a true difference maker. And if you watch the Ohio State Michigan game, what Ohio State's able to do with, having two of those, it just makes, and not that Saban's not a good quarterback, but it makes you a lot smarter when you can just throw that thing up there.
Makes the quarterback look a lot better.
And I do think that's going to be, whether it's Cam Coleman, but it needs to be someone of that ilk that Nagy's going to use some of that money to go get. Speaking of Nagy, I thought it was important to listen to some of his comments on the recruiting class, which, in case if you don't know, our recruiting class ended up, I think, 15 or 16, depends upon which industry thing you're going to follow. But you have to realize, guys, they're like, well, where's the positive momentum in that? Freaking Lincoln Riley's got the #1 class, and why blah, blah, blah. Well, #1, Lincoln had to go sign a whole bunch of people. He didn't have the most 5 stars, okay? Lincoln signed 10 more people than we did because his roster has gotten crunched. Plus, if you look, none of the SEC teams are really at the very tip top because of the roster limitations that are out there right now in the SEC. Now, that's something they've talked about lifting, so that will open that ability. But, if you go look at the very, very top of the recruiting rankings, USC was 1, Notre Dame was 2, Oregon was 3, Georgia was 4, Ohio State was 5. So you're talking 4 of the first 5 are not SEC teams. And then the run of SEC teams slots in there, and everybody in there is either from the SEC or the Big Ten through the top 16. And North Carolina and Texas Tech are both in the top 20, but that's the only teams from the ACC or the Big 12. But going back to Nagy, he talked a lot about how tough this was coming off a 6-7 season. And he even talked about how important it was that go ahead and making the playoff and what that does for him. And seeing that is this was recruiting off of a team that was 6-7. 6-7. But
we keep losing subscribers when you do that crap.
No, we've gained. You look, the first 6-7, we were like 156 an hour.
I'm paying these people off, all right?
169, 69. Okay, but see
okay, now you're just trying, okay?
Yeah. Okay, but what Nagy talked about was just all the negative recruiting that went on this year. Everyone telling them that our staff was going to be gone. Everyone telling them, look, we can't compete in the SEC. We've shown that. The proof's in the pudding. Because no matter what happens in our first round game, this has been a successful season. It has. This has been a successful season by any merit. Now, I think 5 years from now, this won't be a successful season. We've raised that standard back. The standard Oklahoma has to be higher than just getting into the playoff. Standard Oklahoma has to be about championships. But last year, we were 6-7. Okay? 2 out of the last 3 years we were. And to get back to there, we got to stack that again. And I think Nagy and BV, Todd Bates is a great recruiter. Chavis is a great recruiter. Hats off to all those guys, because to pull off a top 15, 16 class coming off season we did on negative recruiting, I think was a pretty darn good job.
Yeah, and 2027 is already shaping up to be.
Right now, we're number 2 in 2020.
Yeah, it's a pretty special class. So I think just pump the brakes on all this. Recruiting classes are important, but also, too, as still portal season, it's going to hit us.
Exactly.
So. And you know what? Before we kind of move on, I have really thought about this hard, and I'm going to make this. I about made this after the LSU game, but I'm going to talk about this a little bit. This team is eerily similar. And like I said, I am not saying they're winning a national championship, but they have a lot of makeup of what that 2000 team did. Remember Josh Heupel? When they were like, is he hurt? He's just not playing the way he was earlier in the year. And Josh Heupel still was a Heisman runner-up. So he wasn't like terrible, but it's just he wasn't the same. And also, too, we had a lot different offense back then. That said, John Mateer, what's happening? John Mateer is just like that hand and that thumb. And it's just, and now they're having the defense having a win game. And you watch it and you're like, I remember a team like this. I remember in 2000 when we would watch the games and we're like, you start getting to the point where like, I don't think we're going to lose.
Yeah. Well, go ahead and aggregate this, guys. 2 local idiots compare 2025 team to the 2000 national championship team. But it is. And I've had this conversation with other people as well. The best thing that's happening right now is all this negative stuff that's going out there. Okay, it
Mhm.
is. If everyone was telling us how scary Oklahoma's going to be in the playoffs and how no one wants to play them, that'd be rat poison, to use a Nick Saban thing for us.
Yeah.
Everyone else we don't believe to be in there. If you don't think that all this isn't getting cut up by our media department, you haven't been paying attention. Okay.
Mhm.
It is. And this is great. Keep feeding it to us.
Yep.
Because, we had Red October. We've just had Red November. Okay. Whatever you want, whatever comparisons you want to make. And we've talked about the left-footed kicker for a long time. But all those things are this. Oklahoma, as a university and as a state, we're a chip on our shoulder operation. And we've got a maniac as a head coach who has the total and complete buy-in of his team.
Yeah.
He does. Now, I'm not saying every person on that team. There's going to be people hit the portal before our playoff game, and that's okay. Let them go. But he's got the buy-in from the people who matter.
Mhm.
And a team like that,
Hard to kill.
tagline here. Hard to kill.
Well, and also too, talking about Tate Sandell, I think it is the stupidest thing in the world to vote for your Lou Groza Award winner. It's an MTV award, in my opinion, because
Is that the real thing? Like, I've seen that on Twitter. I've voted a few times. Like, is that the?
They've actually told me to quit voting. They said you cannot vote anymore. That's not giving you
people's handsomest man of the year last year.
It's like selling Girl Scout cookies. I can go door to door now and sell Girl Scout cookies all day long, but also too, it doesn't mean
a
I'm
good look at a T-bone by sticking your head up.
But it's got to be the bull's ass. Okay. Hey, speaking of bull's ass, what about our OU basketball team? Let's finish up with that a little bit.
Yeah, a little positivity there. We had our first varsity home basketball games last night, so I wasn't able to watch it live. I DVR'd it and got to watch a little bit. My father-in-law texted me and was just like, "Hey, you got to watch the second half of that game yesterday." He's like, "That's the kind of team we've been wanting to see," and he's a basketball season ticket holder, so I was a little negative about basketball over Thanksgiving, and he was like, I think, and I was positive to begin, but I still can't get that Nebraska game out of my mind. But no, I mean, Jeremy, I thought that looked like an NCAA tournament team in the second half, right?
Well, it's amazing. Like, well, who would have thought that bringing 8 new guys in and trying to mold them all together didn't work out right at first. So,
Yeah.
but you know what? Maybe that's what we needed, though, is 2 losses like that. And guys, pump the brakes. I'm not saying that we're going to be a good team. I'm just saying, like, this is different than last year because we never had negativity in non-conference. It was like all just positive because we just kept finding ways to win. Well, now our defense is starting to match what our offense is doing. We have shooters, which is one thing that we lacked, I felt like, last year. We needed guys that can knock down outside shots.
Well, there's diversity of scoring last year. I mean, everything had to come from Fears last year.
It did.
Whether it was him scoring or him setting people up. But, I mean, you look at, Jeremy, we had, 2, 4, 6 people in double figures last night.
Yeah.
I mean, you have 2 guys score 18, 13, 3 guys score 11. I mean,
What did we say we needed to go these next 4 games?
Yeah. I mean, we needed to go. I mean, I said at worst we had to go 2-2 to not just burn it down. I said we need to go 3-1 to still have an at-large bid. And, I mean, I'm greedy. Let's go beat Arizona State because, guys, OSU's pretty good. I'm just throwing it out there. And, that's going to be a big game in Paycom. And, I mean, that OSU, when you play those little brother rivalry games, I mean, there's some celebrations sometimes. I mean, that's a huge game to them.
Yeah.
And, I hope Porter understands that going into that because it's not one of those things. If we lose it, we lose it. I get it. It's at Paycom. It's a women's men's double hitter. It's all those things. I get all that. But we've won the front 2. Let's just go win the next 2. And here's the deal. We play next 2 Saturdays. It's not like these games are back to back. Okay. And in this NIL era, not taken away. And I'm sure there's some guys on there who are very academically focused. But, dude, Nigel Pack's been in college since almost Jeremy and I were there, okay? I don't think he's got a
you got that Jason. He has that Jason White.
I don't think he's got 18 hours of classes. I don't think he's getting ready for an organic chemistry final, okay? I mean, this guy is, there to hoop, and that's what he's there to do. And, at least I go take care of business. Yeah, next 2 Saturdays, let's just go win them. Go 4-0, man.
All right, so I had to bring up a little bit of basketball. We're going to have a lot of basketball talk because getting ready for the playoffs and stuff like that. We'll talk a lot, but it'll probably be a little more basketball heavy until we start getting into playoff action. But I had to mention that because I was negative on him. And, so I was like, holy crap. I looked at the score in the second half. I'm like, well, so our defense finally decided to come play. So that's just a good sign. But I don't know, Gus, what do you think? Should we do a pod after the playoff release?
I think we should. Let's just plan on one, especially, if
we don't have to do a long one, just do a quick kind of run through about the bracket, and we can pick OU winning a national championship. We can move on. So.
Hey, because here's the thing: while we might not have predicted exactly how we got there, this guy and this guy both said 10-2, and here we are at 10-2.
Yeah.
So
I had some Texas. I did pick one out of the two, but
yeah, I think I was 0 for 2, but that's all right.
I didn't expect that. I didn't expect Ole Miss to be like they were. So
yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we'll get on Sunday right after the release. Go through.
Probably won't be super long, guys. We'll probably just kind of give you like our first thoughts on that. We'll have more nuanced takes. We're not going to offer you all the breakdowns and all the things that we normally do. But it wouldn't be a Wednesday pod if I didn't give Jeremy some sort of factoid, some sort of, thing that I read that I thought was interesting, that I thought our fans would know. Okay. Did you know this, Jeremy? It's not something I'm going to have you guess, but kind of an interesting fact. Bo Bentley will have a brother who will be playing on the OU baseball team. Noah Bentley. Right-handed pitcher who signed, he's playing a JUCO baseball right now, who signed to play baseball for Skip's bunch. So, really? Once again, even though Skip did a double dip here, on the looky here is what Skip sends out on his tweets when OU baseball has a signing. But, there you go. Hey, Bentley family going to be double boomer, double sooner.
Didn't know that. Well, guys, so we're almost to 170 on subscribers. So go ahead and pound that subscribe button. Sorry, I'm getting radio version right now, so pound it.
You're looking live at me and Jeremy.
Also, too, follow us on Apple and Spotify. And Goss, where can you get us on email?
At soonercast@gmail.com. Guys, seriously, Jeremy and I've been doing this a little over a year, and we personally take all responsibility for the renaissance and rebirth of OU football. So if you truly care about OU football and you care about Brent Venables, you'll give us a follow, you'll make a comment, and you'll like every video we send. Have a great one, guys. Boomer.
Boomer Sooner.